Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and here we are again with a wonderful guest, Ask the Experts. Today I have Desiree with Let's Vamonos. I just love that name. Expert marketeer and so much more for our Latin community and small business owners. Um, as you know, I am a realtor, but it's not just about real estate, is it? I love to promote small businesses. It's a passion of mine. Who remembers when this whole adventure with COVID started, and I started to meet my Facebook friends, randomly contacted everyone on Facebook that had a small business and interviewed them, introduced them to the world. My family comes from small business owners culture. Everyone in my family has a small business. I run a small business. So of course it's a passion of mine. And when I met Desiree, I just love what she's doing. So without further ado, here I am to introduce you to the wonderful Desiree Klaus. Hey, Desiree.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for being our guest today. I'm so excited you're here. For those of you that don't know what Let's Vamonos is, follow her on Instagram. I mean, there's so much there. But Desiree, start from the beginning. How did everything started? Who is Desiree?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your platform. Like, I'm super honored. We got to meet previously and really connected. I love your energy. So thank you for that. But yeah, who's Desiree? That's kind of hard sometimes to really to really put all in one. We don't have a. I know we don't have a lot of time, but as far as Desiree, me with Let's Vamonos, and as far as when I started actually blogging in 2017, 2018, and did something very similar as you, reaching out to small businesses, specifically in my actual local community. And was reaching out to women in my Latina community, trying to find women owning businesses. And it was really hard, honestly, specifically because I live on the outskirts of Houston, for those of you who don't know. And so I started that journey, and then moving forward, I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. I was connecting. I joined the Houston Latina Bloggers, who's now Houston Latina Collaborative, and did that. Connected with people. 2019 came around, and it was good. It was good. Everything was going good, but I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to do. And blogging, for some people, love that. They love writing. They love doing all those things. And writing wasn't my forte. So 2019 came around, and I said, when 2020, excuse me, at the end of 2019 came around, at the end of beginning of 2020, I wanted to kind of do something different, kind of switch gears, as people say. And well, didn't know that COVID was going to happen. And in the process of transitioning from blogger to doing in-person interviews was what I do, what's my platform is about. I actually got to interview who is currently a famous Latina now. She was pretty famous in her industry then. Her name is Melissa Cervantes, but her stage name, or her wrestling name, because she is a Latina female wrestler, her is Thunder Rosa, and she is from Tijuana, Mexico, and she is an immigrant and all those wonderful things. And she kind of gave me my first opportunity to do an in-person interview. Wasn't planned that way. It was supposed to be just us meeting and me taking maybe some notes. And then she said, "Where do you want to do this interview at?" And I was like, "Oh, she wants me to record it." And she's used to that kind of stuff. Me, I wasn't. And so got my husband. My husband was involved in all of this as well. Said, "Okay, we're going to record this 10-minute conversation." And so we did, and it changed my life. And as a result, she was a Latina who gave me an opportunity, who didn't really have to, and no questions asked. In other words, she didn't ask me what's my platform about. She didn't ask me if I have a huge following or anything like that. She just said, "Let's do it." And I said, "Okay." And so that's where Let's Vamonos was born. It's actually the tagline that I used at the end of that interview. And since then, everything's kind of been a little bit of history. But yeah, and then COVID happened, pivoting that to Zoom interviews, not in person interviews. I ended up doing two in-person interviews at the beginning of 2020, but then, like I said, had to pivot, and actually, it was a great opportunity though to connect with more people and kind of really find a structure for what I wanted to do. Now here we are, 2022, and I'm like, okay, let's take it to the next level, Desiree. Let's keep going. Let's make this better. How can we really tell people what we're trying to do, and create a platform that is inspiring for others as well. I hope to inspire people to, think a little bit bigger
Yes.
than just staying within the realm of what we're capable of or what we think people want us to do. And so been working on in-person interviews all this year, small businesses, and it's also all walks of life as well. I also do people that have advocacy type work, or they're wanting to send out a message that they're trying to promote, something like that. So it's not just small business; it's also advocacy work, and just also telling that human story of struggles and accomplishments. I love lifting people up in that sense. I think some people just really think that they, just because they're a mom or a small business owner or work from home or whatever they do, they tend to not tend, excuse me, Latina women, we tend to kind of downplay our roles. And we actually are, like, to me, superheroes.
Right, right. I
So,
love what you're doing. So, first of all, I think it's safe to say that your passion really is to showcase female Latina powerhouses in all walks of life. And I have seen indeed your advocacy interviews talking about real issues. We need to do one about women that don't have kids, because it's not an
yes,
issue, but it's,
yes.
like, we're always promoting moms with kids, mom with kids, but it's wonderful. And you guys are amazing. But there is a lot of women out there that don't have kids. I love what you're doing. I actually I started this in 2016, so doing these interviews, but of course was a lot regarding real estate and educating the public. So it was already different, and it was not for other realtors, it was for the public, to have something that people can, oh yeah, this is how you do when you buy a house or sell a house. But I really love I even had the name of the show. It was called Let's Get Real.
Ah,
It was, yeah, like real conversations for real people. But I never got to launch it because I'm extremely busy. But that's why I'm like, I love what you're doing, because that was exactly what I wanted to do. Talk to people about indeed the struggles of coming to the US, maybe about, finding housing, and then small businesses. Well, like, what are the struggles when you're starting a business? And indeed focus all on female. And not because males are not powerhouses too. I love our males out there. It's just because we need to speak about something that we really know and are truthful, and is who we are. We are women, so we talk to women and about women, right?
right. Right. Yeah. I actually, it's funny you say that. So I actually don't have on my page that it's women only or Latina only. I do want it to be open for everybody, but I do know who needs that more support, I guess you could say. And I always tell people, even men, like, you're more than welcome to be on my page or platform, as long as you support us Latinas as well. It can't just be like, oh, just kind of trying to sneak in, or ride on the coattails of us Latinas. You have to support us. You have to be a part of this team and team and community that I'm trying to build. And so I have had men on, very few and far between, but it's the Latina women that really do need the
The
highlights and the
voice.
promotions. Yes, 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 yes.
A voice. Yeah, I love it. I love it that you own it, you honor where you come from, you're proud of your heritage. I think that's one of the most beautiful things ever. I love the name Let's Vamonos. So what does that mean for those of us that don't speak Spanish?
Right. So let's vamonos is a Spanglish term, and it's let's go, but it's like let's go. And
I love it.
so I got that term from living in a not necessarily a bilingual home. It was predominantly English speaking home, but my dad did speak Spanglish. My parents both speak Spanish, but my parents spoke Spanglish to us mostly. And so let's vamonos was a very common term for us to go anywhere, whether we're going to church, whether we're going to an event or party or wherever, let's go. And so I got that kind of from my dad. And it's just, I don't know, it's just I feel like it's a part of our culture, like Mexican, Latina culture. Like if you're Spanish speaking, you kind of have an idea of like, oh, okay, I know what that means. And it's also to be a little bit, that fire, put that little fire under you.
Yeah, I understand. I think Let's Vamonos describes me pretty much as well. Although I'm not Latina, I feel like I kind of am because we're Mediterranean, married to a Latino. Um,
Ah.
so tell me, I'm looking at your Instagram page. I love it. Tell me about a few, like I love this. You talk a lot about anxiety lately.
Hmm. Yeah, so I had started talking about mental health probably right last year, after that first year of COVID, right? And the reason why I started talking about it a little bit more is because some people might know this a little bit about my personal life, but my dad passed away in 2017, and I struggled a lot between 2017 and all the way up till COVID. And as far as like dealing with grief and all of that. And then I realized, oh my goodness, now we're in this abundance of people having to deal with grief because of COVID. And so it was almost like a trigger for me, experiencing other people losing their loved ones was kind of triggering me as well. And so I decided to get on a health regimen for my mental health for grief counseling. And it was probably the best thing I have ever done for myself, because it wasn't about necessarily just losing my dad as well, but it's also when you lose someone special in your life, it affects every person in your life. It affects yourself. It affects the way you manage things, how you deal with things, whether you act out or react to things that maybe wouldn't seem so like, why are we acting this way? And so I acknowledge that in myself, realizing personally, hey, I need to talk to somebody. And in the Latin community, it's really hard to have those conversations. With those are not a lot of conversations that are being had. And so, funny enough, I also have a Latina counselor. I went all in. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need somebody also who understands me, who understands the family dynamics, who understands the culture, because that also has a
It's
lot to
just
do with
different.
it.
It just
Yes.
is.
Yes. So that's why I started to kind of highlight a little bit about that and acknowledge that it shouldn't be something taboo. I talk about it all the time, also in my Car Rider Mom confessionals, on my stories, um, things that I've been experiencing. But I I feel like the more I even talk about it, a lot of people are so surface, right? They're like, oh, she seems okay, right? Whatever that is. It's like, well, yeah, I'm okay, but I do struggle with things that trigger, this grief process. And people who do lose loved ones, grief is not like, oh, I'm grieving for 1 minute and then I'm done. It is a continuous wave or roller coaster, you could say, of emotions. There are certain holidays that are really hard. There are times where it might not even be a holiday or anything, and just a memory or a song or a smell, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm in tears, and it's so I really encourage women, specifically of any woman, to, if they're feeling any sense of anxiety or depression, whether it's from grief or for something else, to talk to somebody, because we can't always rely on our comadres or our sisters or our moms to be those people, because sometimes they're also not the best people to talk to about certain
Right.
things. And so then we end up, having this cycle of just kind of like, well, man, we're angry, or we don't feel like nobody understands us. And one thing about counseling people don't know or seem to understand is that it is a judgment free zone. They're not there to give you advice. That's one thing too. People think that counseling's about giving advice. They're not there to give you advice. If you're looking for that, then your counseling's not the place for you.
They're there to basically help you listen to yourself from a different perspective.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I feel that sometimes, and I'm so happy. Well, congratulations to you, first of all, to realize you needed that, because that's the hardest step, is to realize, hey, I need help. I need help is very hard to do. Some people never really actually come to that point. The other thing is that I'm proud that you are courageous to talk about it openly, because again, it is frowned upon by many. People tend to see someone that talks about those things as weak. I see them as very strong, because not everybody has the courage to do it. It's just that. And then also put it out there, because it seems to be a theme that popped up. Not everything we lost so much. It has been crazy since COVID, but we also need to start looking at the positive and the things that we really did gain. And
Yeah.
one of the things we gained from COVID is talking about mental health. Maybe because we were locked at home, we started to realize, but the reality is, and I deal with anxiety all my life, like no one has a clue. Like, I'll give you an example. When I go into a room full of people, people are like, oh my God, you're like, you have this energy, like you're like a powerhouse. We kind of look to you, and inside, I'm dying. Like,
Right.
and people
Yes.
have no clue. Like, it's just I even got goosebumps. Like, that is so real. And
Yeah.
so we start slowly talking about the action. So like, how, like, starting to identify, more than talk about, identify that our actions, the way we talk to others, the way we interact with our family, they have reasons to be there. That anxiety, why is that? So the why, the wanting to explore, the wanting to talk about, is something we got from all of these crazy past few years we've had, and it's amazing. Now, what we don't really have sometimes is resources. That's why I wanted to have
Mhm.
you on the show today, is that sometimes we don't know where to go, who to talk to, especially if you are Latina, because you are busy with your kids, cleaning. Sometimes you don't speak really good English. I have a lot of Latino clients. I think 60% of my clients are probably from Latin heritage, and a lot of them do come new to the US. They're ready to go buy a house, but then they don't have the support system. A lot of them don't even have their families here. So that's why I wanted to bring you on, and, like, that they know there's resources out there.
Yes, yes, there are a lot of resources. I actually have had a bilingual counselor. That's her tag name on Instagram. A bilingual counselor who specifically helps women who are bilingual, or their first language is Spanish speaking, because she saw a need for Latina women who maybe their first language is in Spanish, and so that was the best way they want to communicate. And she saw a need for it, and so she's actually, her industry, what her first part of her industry wasn't actually a counselor. She was in some type of a women's organization, and so she saw the need, and she said, "Well, I can do more." And so she did. She went to school and became a counselor, and those are things that I like to talk about as well. And also the resources for women who are in domestic abuse relationships, stuff like that, that are struggling. They don't know who to talk to, or who to, or that there are resources out there for everyone, whether you're Spanish speaking or not, whether you're also a citizen or not. There's resources. A lot of people think that you have to be a citizen. That's not true. So yeah, I really, I'm always very humbled and great, and also very just, I guess, glad that people find my page as a resource at times, because There's so much information there. I wish I could share more sometimes, but then it's like I don't have enough time in the day. But yeah, there's so much information out there, and so whatever resources I can share, I really try to put it out there. And I'll have sometimes people DM me and say, hey, do you happen to know anything about these particular things, whatever they're asking for, and I'll kind of send them, yeah, here's some recommendations that I have. So
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's so important. I'm so happy you're here because I feel like all of the resources, the hard work you've been putting into this, getting to kind of get your team, so to speak, in place to help you with your community and not just the Latin community. You are so right. I mean, I am drawn because of what you're doing for the Latin community because I believe that every community needs their champions. And I think you are a champion for that
oh,
community,
thank
but I believe that we all need to talk about these things, no matter
you.
what your color, your race. I don't care. What I do care is everyone is happy that they can have, address the whatever goes in here, because whatever goes in here goes between, it's for ourselves, and it's the way that we then relate to others, what we put into the world, how we leave comments on social media, how we
Mhm.
address our family, how do we perceive the world around us. And so it's, the better we are doing at communicating and feeling better with ourselves, I feel like we can have some really awesome times out there. And it's really important to tackle them no matter where you come from. But definitely important for the Latin community that you do have resources. I'm more than happy to send people your way to share those resources, because as a woman, you take so much, with or without kids, you take so much.
Mhm.
And sometimes you do neglect a little bit about yourself. And men as well, there's a lot of men out there that are taking more and more role of a single father. I've met a couple just in the last month, single parents, so in general, just, take care of yourself and address that. But talking about anxiety and advocacy is not just what you do. You also do fun things. You also talk about the lighter things. So I see fashion, I see other stuff. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I love also just promoting small businesses like that sell like accessories or clothes or all or lashes. Like I love it all. Actually, I'm wearing, these are small businesses. My lashes are small business. I'm not wearing a small business shirt today, but I normally do. And so yeah, I love whenever I'm out there in the community or whatever I'm doing, I really try to support them. And I kind of took a vow to myself. Some people probably won't believe me, but I don't shop at Target anymore. I don't shop at Walmart anymore. I haven't shopped at Ross in a long time. I did recently shop at Marshall's, but I mean, we're talking about like far and few between. And when I say I don't shop there, I don't buy my clothes there. I don't buy those types of things. I have actually switched gears to either buying vintage or resell. And I don't buy as much because of that. So I've actually it's been an interesting turn in my life. I never thought I would be that person.
Yeah.
I used to love name brand things. I used to, love all the trends. And now I really just try to buy things that I love to wear and I think that would look good on me, not necessarily because it's a trend or um because it's a certain brand or something like that. And so I've, and it's also a better way for me to support the small businesses as well that I do support, because if I'm continuously buying from Target and all these other places, I won't have the money to support the small businesses. And so I've invested that part of my income to small business to some extent. And so it hasn't actually been it hasn't been hard at all, honestly. It's just being more conscious about who I support, what I support, and why.
Yeah.
And all the other things are just, just it is what it is. And I used to be that person also that would like run into another person who was wearing the same shirt or wearing the same dress, and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah, I
we
know.
we have the same style. That's great. But it's like, we all want to be individuals, and we all
Yes,
want to express ourselves in certain ways. And so, why not support small businesses or vintage or buy vintage
I love it.
items? Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Been doing it for almost all my life actually. 2008 when I moved here, I was shocked by the amount of thrift stores you guys have here. Like it's a thrifty paradise.
Yes. Yes.
And not I haven't been to one, I confess, in years now. I'm just busy with work and honestly just like you supporting now small business owners. But when I first moved here, oh my God, it was paradise. I couldn't believe that clothes with tags,
Mm-hmm.
purses. I found a Prada purse at the
Yeah.
thrift store. So I created this website that was reselling
Mm-hmm.
these findings because it was about reducing the waste for the landfills, because people don't realize, although there is so many thrift stores all over Houston, the US in general, we actually have tons and tons and tons of clothes not longer used that fill in all this waste in the
Yes.
landfills. So it was really important. I when you're talking, I'm like all these things, like I love it. And so also we, the small business owners, they are the backbone of our local economy.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to have better schools, better housing, better roads, our local business owners have to be doing good. It's just the reality of things. So when we support them and they're doing well, we are doing well. To me, that was always something very important as a realtor. And we do have the small business owner as well that I interviewed for a year, small business owners about everything like shop owners, whatever, bakers, because once they're doing good, then we are all doing good. It's like supporting one another. And it has been a difficulty out there. That's why, again, I love what you're doing, because it was a difficulty for me. Like, where am I going to find these small business owners? Like, where are they? Before COVID, small business owners were not promoting on social media. They were not having a platform. Now they are learning and
Yeah.
they are increasing their sales by selling online. And the ones that don't do that are the problem. Like, I'm going to give you an example. I love Old Town Spring. Old Town Spring has tiny little shops, small business owners,
Yeah.
and I used to go there all the time, like to try to interview them and give them a platform, because a lot of them are not even on Instagram. And it's such a shame because they have great product, they have amazing, unique things. And then is exactly like you mentioned. When you support when you shop from local businesses, you are, like individuality, personality, because you're not shopping from the big names. Everyone is the same, everyone with the same t-shirts. So I love it because I started to look, like dresses are different, they look more vintage. And I don't have a lot of people that have the same things I wear. People always ask me, where did you get it? Well, so and so. And if you think about it, things are a little bit slightly more expensive than they would be at the department stores, but what you are getting is uniqueness, quality, made in the
Mm-hmm.
US, made locally. So that is so important for us to have. So that's why one of the reasons I have so many why I like Let's Vamonos, but that's like, yes, like get those small businesses out there. Tell me where the website is. Tell me where the shop is so I
Yeah.
can go.
And
I love
some,
that.
some people might not know this, but the interviews that I do currently right now this year are actually part of them are at a vintage store. So it's called Cargo Vintage Ladies, and it is a actual shop that sells nothing but vintage clothes. I've worn some of their items on my interviews. I have bought some new items I'm super excited to wear. But yeah, they are a little bit on the higher end on the price side, but it's also about like for me being a more conscious about like, okay, do I need this? Do I want this? Is this, what, if I have ripped jeans, if I have jeans that, I ripped a hole in them or something, do I need a new pair? Maybe I might need a new pair, right? But I'm not going to go straight to, the Old Navy or something like that. I'm going to see like, okay, well, where can I, because you can go to a lot of thrift stores and there are tons of jeans, people that just don't wear them. They don't want them anymore. Or like you said, they'll still have tags on them. And so there's tons of ways to still buy things that are maybe a little bit on trend, but not in this never ending cycle of just waste.
Absolutely. That's the thing. And I'm kind of going to wrap it because I can talk about this all day. I'm passionate
Yeah.
about this stuff. It's like, and please don't come after me after this, but it's like Black Friday, right? It's
Yeah.
like you have all of these clothes that are affordable for one reason, so you can buy more. So you may be looking at an item from a local small business and a dress say costs $75, just let's say, but you can use it so many times it won't go to the garbage anytime soon because the quality is there. And you can go to any department store and for that money can buy what, 5 pieces, but they don't last you longer than 3 washes. So
Yeah.
that's the reason. And you're not really supporting your backbone of the local economy, that is the small business owner. So let's all do it. Let's vamonos, like
Yes.
Desiree says all the time.
Yes.
Let's support our local entrepreneurs. Please do follow Desiree here. Let's vamonos. I'm actually going to type it here so I wanted to type it here, but right now I will leave it in the comments, you guys. Let's Vamonos so you guys can follow her, see her interviews. Before we go, Desiree, tell us like what's coming next. What is something that you want to share with everybody before we go?
Yeah, so there's going to be some big things coming next for the rest of this year. Normally I like to do like National Month Day of some kind. I'm actually going to be switching some gears and really getting deep into some entrepreneurial couples. So there's going to be some more couples that I'm going to be interviewing. I'll go ahead and put it out there. It's going to be Latina or Latin power couples. That's what's going to be called. And I'm excited about that because it's something that I have, me personally, never seen out there. And so I'm ready to start that journey and really highlight the Latino community, that men and women, husbands and wives that work together. I think that's really important. And then also just continuing to build my platform. The goal this year is to do every interview in person. That is the goal. Every interview in person. That has always been my main goal since I started doing Let's Vamonos, is in-person interviews. So as long as I can continue to do that, hopefully, we don't have any more hiccups in the road. I'm sure there will be, but that is the goal. That is the main goal. And so far, I've done 3 in-person interviews, which might not seem a lot to some people, but in 2020, I only did 2. So I've already beaten my goal for 2020. And in 2021, I did a few as well, but I've beaten the goals that I had put in place back in 2020. So that's where we're going at this point. Really, even though 2022 is about leveling up, it's not about actually going faster though. It's about slowing down, getting a little bit more focused, and really honing in on those stories that are not being told. And because I know people probably think, well, every story's been told out there. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been. Like I said, Latin power couples hasn't been something that I've seen, and now I'm going to put it out there and claim it, that that's what I'm going to be doing. And I hope to inspire other people to do that as well. And because we need our community to have more support, not just in the Latina side, but just as a whole. And when you meet women and men, husbands and wives that are doing it together, it is so inspiring because we're always kind of seen as individuals, but when you put us as a team, right? Believe me, I grew up with a mom and a dad who were a power couple. They were huge advocates in the community. And so when you put Latinos as a team, Latin couples as a team, they, believe me, they could do some amazing things. And people haven't even seen half of the things that these people can do. So that's what's coming up for 2022. Towards we're rounding the corner, so sometime probably around the summer.
Fantastic. I'm excited to see it. Excited to see where you guys are headed with Let's Vamonos. I find it always refreshing, always pops up on my feed. I always take the time to check what you're doing next. I love it all. Very creative. And also, thank you for doing that. And yes, I hope that others get inspired and start doing the same for their communities as well, because basically what you're doing is lifting people up,
Hmm.
and
Yes, yes.
we need lifting up.
Yes, for sure. Some people feel like, oh, well, there's a lot of people doing certain things. It doesn't matter. Like for me, I want more people to be supporting small business. I want more people to be supporting my community. There's enough room for all of us, and not just that, but we all have our own certain styles, our own vibe, our own spin on things. So there's somebody out there. There's an audience for everybody to some extent, right? And
Absolutely.
so I don't ever want to be like, well, I'm going to be the only one or anything like that. No,
No.
I want to inspire other people as well, because the more we have people doing that together in a together way, as I guess in a community, then the more opportunities we will have. And that's the other thing. I want more opportunities for the Latina community, specifically in media as well. I think there's not enough opportunities out there for us, and so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start my platform as well, is because if there's not opportunities, then I'm going to create an opportunity, and that's kind of sometimes how you have to do it to some extent. I really appreciate also everybody as well who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. I hit 100 subscribers last week actually. Next goal is 1,000. So like, stay tuned, y'all. Like, definitely, I need that support. I really appreciate everybody supporting me thus far, though, and I like the quote that Lo says, "I'm just getting started." Like, that's how I feel at this point.
Absolutely. I love it. I love the energy. I cannot wait to see what's next. Definitely subscribe to that YouTube channel, and I'll share it every time I can. So thank you, Desiree, for being here today.
Yes, thank you so much, and I
Absolutely.
really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Everybody, go follow Let's Vamonos with Desiree, see what she's up to. And if you have an amazing story you would like to share, I'm sure she'll be all ears. So
Yes,
thank you
yes.
so much for tuning in today. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank
See ya.
you.